Good morning, everyone. Sorry for being late. There was some work. So,
अभी 5 minutes back कॉल करा था yesterday कॉल करा था so sorry for the disturbing
no. So we have seen that interfaces and abstract classes are being used, and the next thing that we will be learning further is, which we have already discussed in detail, is final class and variables. The basic simple point is final keyword is used in Java for three purposes. First one is to stop the value from getting changed. That means if I want a variable to have a value constantly being used throughout our program, then that particular variable will be treated as a constant variable through the keyword constant. Okay, so suppose if before the declaration of any variable, if I write a keyword final, that means that particular variable will become a constant variable whose value will not change. Similarly, if I want to write a method and that method should not be overridden by anyone else, suppose I have invested a lot of energy over that method, I have with a lot of efforts, I have defined that logic. I don't want anyone else to just inherit it and use it as they like and overwrite my logic. Then that particular method should be declared with a keyword called as final. Then the third, if you don't want your class to be inherited by someone else and try to be used up, then you will be declaring the class with the help of keyword final. So do remember, final word is used for three purposes, and all three are going to stop something. That particular stopping is, first one, stoppage from changing of value of a variable, stoppage from overriding of a method, stoppage from overriding or inheriting a class. So these three are basic things that you need to remember in final. So if you memorize these 3 points and by heart these 3 points, your final usage is clear cut. So the same explanatory points have been written on the left hand side. I don't think that requires much requirement. So in case of constants, when you have a constant variable, in order to distinguish it from a normal variable part, we'll make use of some sort of a representation so that it can be easily identified from or differentiated from normal variable. So what is that particular notation that will change from normal variable is we'll make all the name of the variable in capital letters. We'll have that particular name is in capital letters. Second thing, if the word or the name of the variable is composed of two words, then we'll introduce a underscore symbol in between. Okay, so normally as you declare a variable, you have got identifier rules to be followed. Apart from the identifier rules, there are certain conventions to be followed for declaration of constant variables. The first and foremost convention rule is you have to declare the constant variable with the name written in capital letters. Second, if the name is composed of multiple words, then you have to separate those multiple words with the help of a underscore. Only these two are there as the naming conventions. So for each and every purpose, I have written one program so that you can easily go through what we are doing. For example, I have written here a program and I'm using a speed limit as a member variable whose value has been initialized as 90. Once it has been initialized, its value will and should not ever change. So we are having 90 here and we are trying to change that 90 to 400. Okay, that means it should give me an error message. So can you see that the output is a compile time error here? Similarly, overriding, I have one function over here run and I am trying to extend that particular class and try to override that particular method here. And now when I am trying to override it, and since it has been declared as final, it should not be allowed to be overridden. That's why it will give me an error there also. Avoiding inheritance, once I declare a class as final, can I extend it? No, we cannot extend it. That's why it will give an error here also. So what are the various misconceptions or myths around final keyword? One of the misconceptions is that is final method inherited or not? It cannot be overridden, but it cannot be overridden. That means it cannot be inherited and changed. Is it that it cannot be inherited altogether? Will it not be inherited altogether? Overridden means it is being copied into your class and you are changing that one. Do remember two things are happening. You are inheriting it and you are changing it. You are overriding that concept. If you declare a variable, a method as a final, inheritance will be there, but it will not allow you to change it. You can use that particular method without changing it. That's the basic concept. Yes, method is inherited, but you cannot override it. Second one, blank or uninitialized final variable. This is again a very important question. Your final exams. What is a blank or uninitialized variable in Java? It's simple. A variable which has been declared as final and it has not been initialized at the time of declaration is called as a uninitialized variable. For example, here in this program we have written equal to 90 here. Suppose if I don't write equal to 90 here, that means this variable has been declared with a keyword final. That means it is not going to change any further. Whatever default value is there, default integer value, that will remain as a constant value. So if a variable has not been defined at the time of initialization, if a final variable has not been given any value at the time of initialization, then that particular variable is called as a blank variable, Clear? So one example program, I have kept it back again for your quick reference point. So what is the difference between abstract and final? There are two separate concepts. There is no comparison at all, basically. But many of the textbooks and many of the question papers have been framed just to have a comparison between them. Basically, there is no point of comparison. In shortest possible manner, I can say that final is just the opposite of abstract. That's all. So final class cannot be extended. Abstract class can be extended. Final method cannot be overridden. abstract method should be written. Abstract modifier is applicable to class and method. Final modifier is applicable to class, method, as well as variable also. So those were the quick three differences that were there between the abstract and the final over there. Now the last topic that we'll have a look at is the command line arguments. So what are the command line arguments? The main function is being called by the compiler. So main is also a function or a method, right? So every method or a function is capable to accept certain parameters which will be used, which can be used in its body. Right? So what will be the main going to accept and from whom is it going to accept? That is also one key point. If there is a normal function, that function will be called from the main function by passing certain parameters. So main will contain those variable values and will pass those values to the function. Okay, function f, y, something like that. So from where will this main method take the parameters? The point is, main is being invoked by the compiler. So when the compilation is being done, when the interpretation is being done, at that point we will give certain values to the main function. Okay, those values will be stored inside some arguments list. For example, when it is a normal function, we'll explicitly mention how many arguments are going to be there. Argument A, B, C, so on. We'll tell the names of the arguments, as well as we will mention how many arguments will be there, as well as we will also mention what will be the data type of those arguments. For a normal function, it happens like that. But for a main, since main should be a general purpose method, it should be able to accept any number of arguments and of whatever type it may be. So the most generic data type which exists is string, and whatever is being entered through the keyboard is in the form of string only. And for the number of arguments to be dynamic in nature, we use a dynamic array, and array can hold any number of parameters inside it. So ARGS is the array name and string is the data type over there. Clear with this concept now? So whenever any argument is being passed at the time of compilation and execution, then that particular type of argument passage is called as command line argument passage. Okay? Is called as command line argument passage. Now, as an example, I have kept one program which is trying to take arithmetic as a class name for the execution, and beside it what is written in the bold 12 space means 12 is the first parameter, 3 4 5 6 is second parameter, space is there, that means second parameter has finished, then plus symbol is there, this plus symbol will become the third parameter. So my array ARGS will contain 12 as the first value, 3 4 5 6 as the second value, and plus as the third value. Hello, hello, assalamu alaikum. Hello. In between, certain things will be coming. वालेकुम अस्सलाम आफ्ताब, बोलो ना। वो फीस रिसिप्ट है, वो फी पेमेंट करे सो रिसिप्ट है ना वो। अच्छा, हॉल टिकट जनरेट हो गया आपको? अच्छा ठीक है मैम, चलो मैं वो इन्फॉर्मेशन कम्युनिकेट कर देता हूँ। ठीक है, चलो खुदा हाफिज। sorry for the disturbance in between. So basically, we are trying to see this particular program, and what I want to show you is how this arguments array will be initialized. We are at the time of execution, right? How it will be fitting into. The 12 value will be fitting into the first of my array, ARGS. 456 will become the second element of my array, plus will become the third element of my array. That means if I want to pass multiple elements, multiple arguments for command line, then I have to separate those arguments with a space. Okay, I have to separate those arguments with a space. Do remember this thing. So args.length will give me how many arguments are there. It will give me basically 3, right? 3 arguments have been passed. ARGS of 0 will be 12, so on till ARGS of 2 will be plus. Okay. So if I want to get to know how many characters have been there in the string for first element, for the second element, and for the third element, then I can use ARGS of 0 dot length. It will check how many characters are there in this string. There are 2 characters, 1 and 2, right? How many characters are there in this particular string? By using dot length, I will calculate that thing. 3 is there, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 characters in this particular string. Similarly, for the last one, we have got only 1 character. So by using these, we'll come to know how many different characters have been entered in each of the parameters or each of the arguments. So in this example program, what I have written here is, the above part is how we execute this program. Execution will come to have a look at the later age. Let's try to discuss about this particular class. In case of arithmetic, I am having a main method and I am trying to have 2 variables called as operand 1 and operand 2. And I know that the things that are going to be passed at command line is 3 arguments. First 2 will be the operands. Third one will be the operator which will be applied for these 2 operands. Okay. So I'm asking user ARGS of 0 means I'm putting it back to this screen what has been entered by using ARGS of 0, ARGS of 2, ARGS of 1. So that means first argument, then the plus symbol or whatever symbol is being entered, then this second argument is being entered over here. Okay. Now based on what symbol operator has been entered, we are performing some operation and putting the result back on this screen. This is what is being done. Now what is these 3 steps? What are these 3 steps? Do remember whatever is being entered from the keyboard is in the form of string. So we need to convert that string value into its corresponding integer format so that we can perform the arithmetic operations. We have got one class called as integer, predefined class in Java called as integer, which is meant for replicating the functionality of the data type integer. Okay, what is this integer as a class? It is a class which has been defined in Java, predefined in Java to replicate the functionality of int data type. On top of just a data type, it has got certain functionalities which has been predefined inside it. And one of the functions which has been predefined inside it is parse int. This parse int will take certain parameter and it will try to parse it or convert it into its corresponding integer format. Okay, whatever is being mentioned in the parameter will be converted into integer format by using the parse int function. Okay, but this function is present inside which class? Integer class. That's why we are writing integer.parseInt and we are passing whatever is to be converted, the first argument value to be converted. Okay. Similarly, the second argument is being converted here into integer format, and the last one, it's also in string, right? When it is being entered through the keyboard. Now I want to know what is the character at that particular position 0. So once the operator is read, it can be used for calculation purpose. Now I'm checking, is this character which has been entered matching with the plus symbol? If it is plus character, then perform operand 1 plus operand 2 and display it back on the screen. If this is minus character, then display operand 1 minus operand 2 value. If it is into character, then perform the multiplication. If it is by character, then perform the division and display the result back. If nothing has been, if there is something else being mentioned over there, mention it is invalid operator. Okay, that was there for your fourth unit. Uh, in the next session, we'll be quickly starting with our seventh unit. So, do you have any doubt in this particular unit? Is there any doubt in this unit? Yes. Akhil, we can convert it into float as well as double. Just like integer class is there, we have got float class, we have got double class. And in that case, we will be having the function as float dot pass float, double dot pass double. Okay? Welcome, ma. Any other doubt? I will be sharing this slide with you people. Shortly, I will be converting it into a PDF and sending it to you. Please go through this slide. It is going to contain the basics of your Java, which are very, very important for you to learn throughout your career. Okay, fine. At 11:30, I'm going to start this session now. It's 11:28. Hope to see you back again at 11:30. Just 2 minutes are there. I'm going to post the next link for 7th unit. Thank you, everyone.